Once I started working out, I didn't want to stop. And I still don't want to stop. Because whenever I first started working out, it's almost like you have to push yourself to start it. Like there's a lot of friction involved in starting. But then for the next like 2 weeks after you start working out, it's amazing, you know? You love it. You feel sore. You still you only almost even see the muscle growth, even though in reality there's probably very little muscle growth in the first 2 weeks. But once I started for the next 2 weeks, like it's amazing, you love it. But then after that, there's almost like a dip in your motivation about after 2 weeks after I started. And that's probably about as hard as actually starting itself because whenever you first started, there's a lot of friction involved. But then after the 2 weeks, the novelty wears off almost like it's not so like interesting and new at first. It's almost like when you buy a car. I haven't bought a car, but like it's all new and shiny. But once the shine wears off, then you just left with whatever you bought. It's almost like that where after like the newness of the workout wears off, then you also have to continue doing it because that's probably like the deciding factor of whether you're going to continue working out or not. Definitely it is. Because if you decide not to, like you just say, "Oh, maybe it's not for me." Or making excuses like I'm too tired, I can't do it, then you're not going to continue doing it. Because whenever I had the mindset of I don't have enough time or I'll get to it eventually, you'll never have enough time. I never had a perfect moment to start. I just did. I know a quote, I don't know who it's from, but the best time to start was 10 years ago. The second best time is now. Obviously, I couldn't start working out 10 years ago, but the thought process remains the same where I could have started earlier, like 2, maybe 3 years earlier, and I'd probably be stronger, more athletic, but you can't go back in time. So whenever I started a year ago, that's when I started, and I'm glad I continued doing it. But after you push yourself after the 2 weeks, like if you continue doing it, then slowly but surely you'll build up the momentum of doing it because you'll actually start to see more real progress, especially because since you're new, you really gain a lot of muscle in the first like 6 months. And it's like once you build up that momentum, it becomes easier and easier to do it every day until eventually, like, there's no friction. You're just doing it because you want to and you feel good afterwards. And that's still, you build up momentum every day. I'm at the point now, after a year and like a month of working out, where I want to do it in the morning. Like today, literally just today, I woke up. I was a bit like not hungry, but a little like what's that? What's it called? Whenever like you're not fully hungry, you're just a bit like peckish. Peckish. I was a bit peckish. I ate a banana in the morning, and then after that, I set up everything, put on my took off my pajamas, put on my clothes, and then I just worked out. Like I want to do it now because I've built up that progress of doing it every day. It's almost like it's half so much of a habit as it is also that I want to do it. So there's two parts to it where you have to do it for long enough so it's a habit where it's almost like it's part of your routine essentially, but also it's enjoyable to you, but you build that enjoyment from actually doing it enough. Like I'm at the point where I'm like happy with my muscle. Like I look in the mirror and that's my almost motivation. I see where my exercising has gotten me and now I want to continue doing it. But at the start, you really don't have that like clear picture of why you're doing it. It's just a hazy imagination of where you'll be in the future, which is why it's important to build a habit at the start so that then you get the other part afterwards. Being consistent, like in all honesty, you might not do it every day. I don't do it every day, working out. But once you do it enough and consistently enough, like at least I did it like 3 to 4 times a week. At the beginning, I was doing it almost like 6 days a week. And that built up the habit for me to where now I probably only work out honestly 3 days a week. And I also do jujitsu, so that's also a workout. But it's not really on muscle, it's more so cardio and knowledge. But you see, like I have an active routine, but even now I'm doing less workouts per week, but I can still stay consistent in it because I've built up that momentum. And that's probably the most important part in working out, honestly. And honestly, in everything else as well. Well, not everything, but a lot of things in improving yourself, where meditation, for example, at the start, I actually built up like a big streak. Like the streak was motivation. I built like 150-day streak whenever I started. But after I like failed that streak, then I just lost the motivation, and probably for a few months I didn't even meditate at all. Like I just stopped. It's the equivalent of at the start of working out, you like build up that confidence, that excitement, and then there's just the dip. And that dip for me in meditation lasted for months until now I'm back to the point where I'm doing it daily. Like in the morning, I meditate and it's almost like a nice highlight. Like right before I go to school, just like sit there without thinking, just almost like relaxing. And at night or in the late evening before I go to sleep, it's nice to wind down and calm down. Like I'm doing meditation daily now. I've started gratitude journaling as well recently, where just every day one thing I'm grateful for. Like it's as simple as I'm grateful for my mom drying my hair. Or she didn't do that today, but just something like that. And I'm sure I'll build up motivation, or not so motivation, momentum for journaling and gratitude and just journaling in general, where I'll be able to do it every day because it's a habit and I want to eventually. But staying consistent at the beginning and then building up that momentum like that, it's almost like whenever a snowball rolls down a hill, it'll get bigger and bigger until you have this massive just ball of snow rolling towards you. That's what momentum happened. That's what momentum is. At the start, it's small, it's hard to gain speed, but then after you have it, like you're unstoppable. Like I like how can someone who's at the start of working out compete with me, you know? They have to go through that hardship of not wanting to work out until they finally reach the point where they do want to work out. And that's what really separates people. Just gaining that momentum is probably the most important thing in building a new habit, and especially working out.